Hello, 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 and welcome to the Impact Podcast. We are so excited to be with you yet again. I swear, every time first and third Thursdays come, we are very excited to be able to have these conversations with you, whether you're watching live or whether you're connecting after. So, welcome. I am Aaliyah Johnson Roberts, and I have with me.
Damaris Alvarado Rodriguez.
and Dr. Obiama Martin.
Yes. My ladies are here. We are complete. We are having some guests this evening. We're really excited to have them. They are amazing leaders and owners of high quality childcare programs. They will be on, but something that we had briefly spoken about, ladies, was just kind of checking in with, we always check in with one another, but we're noticing too that people are having a number of different experiences now. It is the holiday, right? We brought this up earlier. It's the holiday, and for some of us, we're happy and excited about the holiday in the holiday season. And then we have some people who may have, it may be some things that occurred in the past. It may be something that they're dealing with now. And it's just so important that we are just really checking on the people around us. We always hear that saying, check on your strong friends. And that is extremely, I've learned the importance of that. I did lose a friend to suicide. And that's something that's really tough to think about when you say that person is close to me and I was unaware. It doesn't always have to be as deep as suicide, but it's still important for us to just be mindful of those around us every day, right? We have employees and staff that we are around. We have family members, right? You posted something the other day, Damaris, even about your daughters. And that's something I've learned over the past few years, to not discount my children's feelings just because they're children.
Absolutely.
So I thought that was great of you to bring that up.
Yeah, it's okay for them to have a bad day. Here goes a 10-year-old from 8 in the morning all the way to 8:30. And that it really resonated with me. I said, that's a long day of bad things, although they were small to me, but to her, they were huge, right? Even she shared at dancing school, she kind of like had some words, respectful words, that's what she calls them. With her dance teacher, and she was like, I got in trouble, and I said, well, you know how did you deliver the message? Was it in a respectful manner? Wasn't it disrespectful? And she said, I was respectful, she just didn't like it. I said, well, it seems like your teacher has a problem, right? The problem's not you, and it's okay to have a bad day. It's just okay, and don't let nobody take that from you. That's it. And she did say that. She said, I had a bad day today, and this person couldn't connect that, right? Like, wow, this kid must have really had a bad day. So allowing her that space to say, it's okay to have a bad day, let's talk about it. And at 10, it really allows her the space to understand that not every day is going to be a good day.
Yep.
Right? It's how we face those days, those difficult days.
Yes, we're helping them build resiliency, right? I think that's what's so important. And those are the skills that we're supposed to be teaching our children, in our homes and in our programs, right? Because they have all these emotions, and sometimes they don't know where to put them. Right. So then sometimes us as adults get frustrated because they don't stay within this box of behaving how we expect them to behave. But right, we're teaching them how to regulate. But it's interesting, honestly. We're still learning sometimes, right? I'm amongst adults at times, and it's like, okay, we need some more social emotional regulation tools. So we probably need to work on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is one of the things where, and I want to say unconscious competence, because I learned many, many, many years ago that the disconnect with teachers and children is that teachers were having a bad day and taking it out on the children, which is what led me to teaching CDA, which led me to be really passionate about teaching teachers how to work with children, because it's like the same grace you need, they
Yes.
need, right?
Right.
The same mercy, the same forgiveness. And so, why is it that we have these high expectations of children, but you don't have those same expectations of yourself? And it's like, and then you come into my classroom and you want me to give you grace when you can't figure something out. But in your classroom, when the child can't figure something out, you're judging them. I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Right.
Right. So, my thing always is mirror check, mirror check. And if you're having a bad day, let the children know that, because children are so compassionate and empathetic. And if you let them know, I'm not feeling well today, they'll give you grace, they'll comfort you, they'll be kind, they'll love on you. But if you just gonna be nasty, that same energy that you giving out is
You're
what you're
getting
gonna
it
get back.
back. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
And you're getting it back 2 or 3 times. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's interesting because you mentioned, Damaris, your baby girl said respectful words, and I've noticed, especially the fact that we have different generations now, like working in the industry or the field. We sometimes, have people who have that old school thought process of, this, I demand respect, but don't see it as being required to respect children, right?
Mhm.
It's mutual, right? Because we can't say respect me, but we're not respecting them, because what are we right? That's like the mirror also. It's like they are a result of what it is that you're showing them.
Mhm.
So it's times we need to check ourselves. And I know I do it at home a lot, right? Being a parent is not perfect, but and we know going into the schools and being in the classrooms, it's not easy, but we still have to show up, and we have to show up fully, because these babies are, they're expecting us to come in, not that we're whole every day, because we always talk about filling our cups. However, like we still do have to, show up and model. And so even if I am having a bad day, so it's funny, my 10-year-old, she recognized, oh, before I can even say, she's like, you need a minute. And I'm like, you know what, I really do. I just need 1 minute. And it's okay to say that. Like, that's the thing. It's okay to say that, because I want them to say the same thing, right? My youngest, it's times when I'm like, well, you don't want to talk about it right now. And she's like, no, not right now. She'll come back. And that's okay. And that's a part of giving grace also. Like, if we give this space, because sometimes someone's not ready to talk about it right then and there. And that should be okay. And that's how we're creating those healthy boundaries as well. Communication, all of those. It's so funny. We're on this. This was not the topic for tonight.
No, it was
But
not.
you know what?
But
It's so timely, because
yeah.
one of the things that I say all the time is you cannot make a withdrawal where you've made no deposit. And so it's the reciprocation of it all. So even with children, when you teach them, when you model before them what it's like to be empathetic, what it's like to have self-compassion, what it's like to show yourself grace and to be forgiven of yourself, is so important. Because here's the other piece to what all of us are saying, is that children are just smaller images of us, and we are bigger images of them, right?
Yeah.
Perspective is everything. And it's like, we just have to pause, right? Like, we just really need to pause and to be able to process that internal stimuli and that external stimuli, so that we know how to proceed, so that we know how to move forward, because nothing is as bad as it first appears. And so sometimes for us and for the child, and what's interesting is that the three of us have a 10-year-old, right? And so you guys have girls, I have a boy, but it's the same thing. Like, a lot of times we say girls and boys are so different. Not so much. Not so much when it comes to emotions. Like, they have the same emotions. They're scared. They're trying to fit in. They want to please us. They want to be accepted. They're trying to be competitive. It's all these different things that they're dealing with, and we're dealing with the same thing as well. And it's just like, can we talk about it? If not now, then when?
Yeah. Yeah. We were brought up in a household, old school, right? Children are to be seen, not heard.
Yes.
Right.
Right. You remember, like, children are not to be seen, not heard. So I remember my mom, anytime company came or adults were around, they were having adult conversations. She would just give me the look, and I had to hide, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I was to be seen, not heard. And that's difficult with these outspoken children nowadays in these decades, because my kid is outspoken. That's the reason she said, my daughter said, I use kind words, because I always say to her, it's okay to lift your voice, but just make sure your voice is not too high,
Mm,
right? Watch how you say it, right? So,
yes.
you have to monitor how your delivery is. And teaching that to a 10-year-old is really difficult. And I've been doing that because I've always realized, I always knew that she was the outspoken one. She is her mother's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She really is. Since she was like a baby in diapers, she was just like blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, great, my future advocate. But I had to kind of like mold her into, listen, you can say things, because I'm not taking that from you. I don't want to shut your voice. I don't want you to not say what you feel or advocate for yourself. It's just how you say it. So you have to be respectful, right? And if you feel that it's out of line, or it's out of your control, mommy got your back,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Let the adults talk to each other crazy, but not from you.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to just stay in your lane in that way, still say what you have to say, and then mommy got your back. Mommy and
Mm-hmm.
daddy got you. And which she does understand that. Sometimes she's afraid to tell us things because she knows that we're going to be like, what? And then she'll be like, don't get mad and don't go there. Don't go to school, but this happened. I'm like, oh gosh. So I have to be really mindful as well, for those overreacting families, those bears, right, protecting the little cubs, and how I react, because they understand. They really, I don't also want her to be afraid of telling me things, right,
Mm-hmm.
because of
Yeah.
my reaction. So it's a balance. It's
Yeah.
a really difficult balance.
Yeah.
Hi,
That makes
Laverne.
me think of something. And then Laverne is here. We're going to bring Laverne.
Hey, Laverne. Welcome, welcome,
Laverne.
welcome.
One thing I thought about not too long ago, especially with like our school age children, for sure, right? They're older than our preschool children, but I think we also have to be mindful too that we are dealing with children who come from households that we just don't know what may have taken place. We don't know what that parent experience, and they are coming in as a bear because someone didn't protect them. So
Mm-hmm.
they're coming in like, I can't allow that to happen to my child because I know what it was like to not be protected.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that to say we have to just be that mindful with teachers, leaders, in our schools and programs, because we are dealing with people who have experiences, and everyone's not walking into our space just to conform. No, like we have to meet each other where we are, right? We have policies and all of those things, but people are coming in and we have to connect with them. We have to respect the children, respect the families the same way we demand respect. But I remember an instance where I could tell the way mom was responding. It was a lot more that happened, like even in her past. And at some point when we gained more of a relationship, I was telling you, Obiama, because she asked me like, no, I thought she was being smart. Like, so what am I supposed to do? No, she was like, no, what am I supposed to do? Like, she really wanted help. And it was like, this was a moment we really needed community. And,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, we have to be mindful of that because this mom is really trying to protect her baby. And she said that, like, it's hard, but I have to respond because I don't want her to think that I don't have her back. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think that helps us lead into our conversation about leadership because it is related. So I do want to bring Laverne in. She is here. Laverne Cheeseborough, owner of Heavenly Made Creations. Welcome. We are so excited to have you. Um, I'm not sure if you heard. We just was really talking about the actual experiences that people are having today. Just all of us, and things are heavy, and how we just need to recognize what people are experiencing. And I don't know if you have anything to add to that. Our conversation today was going to about leadership. Because you just went through the exceptional bilingual leadership fellowship and spoke all about leadership, but this is applicable because we as leaders, we set the tone for our programs. And so, I just want to invite you in if you want to tell us a little bit about who you are, about your program, and if you wanted to add anything about what we were speaking about, because I'm sure you have experiences as well, and you can connect with exactly what we're doing.
Hi, ladies. Y'all know I'm happy to be on here. I'm famous now. but yeah, just to add to it, I have a baby who is a soprano, and I allow him to be a soprano. And one of my concerns is that the neighbors might think, "Oh my God, what is going on over there?" But I allow him to be a soprano. He has his moments, so he can go head on and let it out. I wish I could. And because the one thing that is true is the energy happens. And one of the things that I've learned how to do, because my program is in my home, I had to learn how to turn off the personal that's going on. And I can literally be like in the midst of something, but I can't have that on because I have to give my children my best and the best me, energy wise, because they can pick up what's wrong, Miss Vern, and I feel like they, even though I turn it off, they still know, because when we say what we're grateful for and stuff, they'll say, "And I'm grateful for you." They always will find something to say that make me feel good and stuff. And so we'll do the group hugs and stuff like that. But they definitely pick up how you're feeling, and they pick it up in your tone, they pick it up in your demeanor, they pick it up in how every way you interact with them, either verbal or non-verbal.
Yes. Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah.
That's a whole other level too, because we're also, right, the same way you said they pick up on energy. What about these babies who are in, environments where they're picking up energies, and now they come into our space, and we're kind of jumping on them because they're just like, they're trying to figure out again what bucket to put this emotion in. And it's like, now I'm overwhelmed, you're overwhelmed, the other over there overwhelmed, and that's the whole thing. And that's really when we need community. I think something that we definitely, I'm gonna add Zakia. I definitely think that's something we could speak to in regards to community, because during the fellowship, I mean, we all started out, with our 12, right? Our 12 members, and everyone didn't know one another. But I feel like by the end of the fellowship, it was this community, this sisterhood, that if we had a rough day, a rough week, we were able to bring it to the community and like, listen, it's like we were able to have those conversations. So I think what's important as leaders too, and we've spoken about this, ladies, but to have someone we could call, or a group of people, because I think it's this thing in the ECE world that you can't really trust too many people. Can't share.
Or we're comparing, or can't talk to this program, they're too close to me.
Yes.
Well, it's all of the cattiness, it's the backbiting, it's the you telling my business, you in my business, you trying to take my business. Right.
I'm just trying to survive.
Right. It's all of that. And so what I absolutely love about the fellowship is that it's been such a safe space. It's been such a safe space. And so we get to allow these wonderful guests, Zakia and Laverne, to share their leadership experience and how they've grown. And it's just really amazing. So we won't stop talking, because we can, this is what we do. So this is y'all time to shine. We want to shine a light on y'all tonight.
So if you guys want to chime in, tell us your experience on the exceptional, in your own words, right? Because we don't want to ask questions and gear. This is an open forum where you can speak freely. Just tell us, share your experience in the exceptional leadership, bilingual leadership.
Well, let me set this up. Let me set this up.
Of course.
I wish I had the song. I wish I had known I would have cued "Shine a Light" on them. I would have, but I don't have it ready. But
so can you start off with, though, like, why did you even sign up for such a program, right? Because like Laverne specifically, we have history, right? So you've been a leader, like you're not new to this. So what about this program attracted you and made you want to invest?
So yeah, so for me, last year when I did my vision board, the number one thing on my vision board was leadership. I needed to get to a different level of leadership. I'm very familiar with family child care. I know how to be a leader in family child care, but I'm isolated in a sense from people outside of family child care, you know, providers outside of family child care. So I always challenge myself and question myself, what would I do if I worked at a center? Can I work at a center? Can I be a director at a center? Because I've never done that. I've never worked in a center before. I've only worked in my home. So I've only worked with a small number of children. Nobody never put 20 children in front of me and said, what are you going to do? Or 5 staff in front of me and said, how you going to handle them? So for me, it was like, it's time for you to go to the next level of leadership. And you have to come from amongst what you're comfortable with. And so that's what made it important for me to be a part of this. And the fact that it's at exceptional leadership, I knew I was going to get exactly what I needed and what I was looking for.
Oh,
Awesome. Awesome. So Zacchaeus, same thing for you. But a little bit differently, like you are a new leader in a sense of coming from a teacher in a classroom into the director position. And then just like, how important was it for you to even been afforded this opportunity? Because this isn't something that necessarily employers do at this level, because this was an investment. And so for your employer to provide you with this opportunity, like, to talk about that, what was that like for you?
It's and I mean I say this all the time. It's been an amazing journey. And that's one of the key reasons why I like working for Miss Damaris, is because even when I was a teacher in one of her classrooms, she invested in the teachers too. And I've worked at different childcare centers and things like that where that is not the environment. Like nothing is ever going to be 100% perfect all the time, and we all know that working in childcare. And I think that as a teacher and as a genuine person who cares about children, we know that, we accept that wherever we go. However, it was just different. So when I came back to work and I was presented the opportunity to go, I'm like, yes, of course, I'll do it. I trust Damaris has my best interest at heart. So when she presented it to me, I'm like, yeah, of course. If you think that I should be in this course, I'm going to take it. And so once I, got into the class and started to meet the other providers, the other leaders, and then, of course, get to talk to you ladies every other week or what have you, it was so refreshing because, like I said, I am new to the leadership role. So a lot of the questions or anxieties or things that I've had, it was nice to be in a group of people who are relatable and also be able to ask questions without being like, okay, that was a dumb question. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was a dumb way to go about it without feeling like that, like feeling like because you don't know that you're going to be like judged on your skills. And all of you were genuinely like building everyone up to be better leaders. So it was like no question was too small, no issue was too big. And I did enjoy that if one particular person had a specific issue with their program, we kind of stopped what we were doing and focused on that to kind of give their person the tools, the strategies, different perspectives to kind of make them feel more comfortable in their leadership roles. So for me, it was more so like it was very refreshing. Like I told Damaris, I've learned more in this course than I have in a college course, because I don't think that the college courses necessarily prepare you for this type of role.
Something I think that I love about what you said, because in our everyday work as leaders and like owners and directors, how many times do we get to stop and everybody just try to support you in a way where it's like, oh, this is what you need. Hold on. Let's all rally around and help you as a leader. We don't get that a lot. So the fact that you said that, it's, that's refreshing to hear, because there's days when it's like, I don't know. No one else will understand. You're right. You can't talk to your staff. You can't tell them about you being overwhelmed because you're too busy trying to lift them up. And
Literally today. Literally today. Literally today.
So, Obiama, what you don't know is that at the end of the day, I read your Bible quote to Zykia and to another person that was going through a bad time. And I said, I've had a bad day and this is what lifted me today. And I hope I'm able to lift you. So before Zykia left, we had a conversation and I said to her, this is what I received. And I hope it resonated with you today. Yeah. So I'm very proud of her. She's journaling. So she went home to journal. What good things happen. So we focus, for those of you that don't know, we always talking about, okay, let's not focus on the negatives that happened today. Tell me a few things that happened that was good. Let's focus on that, So she did redirect herself to that by herself without me saying anything. Because honestly, it's like, I wasn't in that space to be talking about the good today. And she brought me back there. So, it's that leadership, your growth and your leadership growth is very evident. And I'm so grateful for you. I really am. And
I'm grateful for you.
Oh, gratefulness.
So,
Laverne,
So Laverne, what are some of the things that you have since putting leadership on your vision board last year, and now you are graduating this Saturday? How have you, what are some milestones or some things that you can say today, like, I have really matured in this area, or I have really grown in this area, or wow, I know a few weeks ago I would have responded differently. And I say that from the perspective of, I can now say as a leader that things that I wanted last year, I wasn't ready for. But because of some things that I decided to focus on, I can see how, man, I am really maturing, because if I would have got what I wanted last year, I didn't have the capacity for it.
Oh, that's good.
So I don't know. A lot of people think my birthday is like any time, but my birthday is in January. I'm a Capricorn. And so Latanta is one of my partners in one of the organizations that I have. So she's a Capricorn also. We describe ourselves as savage and polished. Of course, I would be the savage one, right? So, because I struggle with biting my tongue or knowing when not to say certain things. And so my outspokenness can become aggressive in a situation because I'm in my emotions. This past year, and then just being able to talk to you, just having the interactions with Aaliyah. Damaris is always encouraging me to do a step up in another position or space. And so I'm again being exposed to other leaders so that I know when to be polished and when to be savage versus always in my emotions. I know how to respond professionally now, not emotionally. And so it's been a ride, and I'm telling you, like, I have this attitude, like, if it's shady, I'm gonna call them out and I'm gonna say this and that, but I don't have to. And so when I get those responses now, thank you for responding respectfully and professionally, I'm like, yeah, I finally got it. I'm arrived. So it's yeah.
So, Laverne, I'm cracking up because Aaliyah, Damaris, and myself have identified ourselves. So Damaris is war, and I'm and Aaliyah, Aaliyah, you water. What are you, Aaliyah?
She's love. She's love.
Right. So Aaliyah is love. I'm peace, and Damaris is war. Right. And so
I'm the person that says, "Hold my cup." I'll be right back.
Right. So it really makes our relationship just so amazing because we each bring something different, and we're able to
Mm-hmm.
hold space for each other. And the three of us can be all of those things
Yes.
in the situation, right? But what
Mm-hmm.
is always present is kind of how we've identified ourselves, but also in that as leaders, we know how to keep each other sharpened as well. So we've been able to really move forward in some things, because if Damaris is war and Aaliyah is love and I'm peace, when it rotates, when it
Mm-hmm.
rotates and I'm war and I'm a firecracker,
Mm-hmm.
then Damaris is able to
Yeah.
be peace, and so it's a beautiful thing. So what you said, just know that given the right situation, you're gonna have to be savage and
Yeah.
be polished. And it's just really
Right.
about knowing how to keep all of those things in balance and when they need to show
Mm-hmm.
up in what situation.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know I
So
speak
I've
to you.
definitely learned that.
Yeah, what I love about it, and really all of you ladies, I don't know Zakia as well, but I feel like what I love about each of you is that you are all are so authentic, and in spaces where sometimes you don't know what you're going to get from someone, that's not the
Mm-hmm.
case. That's not the case. So I respect and love the savage, because I'm going to get this honest.
Zakia can be
With your love.
savage.
No, I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to believe it.
I believe it. There's times I look at her, I'm like, breathe.
Yes.
And when she does explode, I laugh. And I'm like, I'm so proud of you. I'm so
Mm-hmm.
proud of you. All those
Yeah.
emotions out.
And
The balance is important. The balance is important.
It
It's very
is.
important.
and
It's
community
necessary.
is important too, because the one time I had an opportunity of experiencing Zakia being savage, Damaris and I was together, but it was beautiful though, right? It wasn't a
Really was.
judgment. Like, we were able to hold space
Mm-hmm.
for her and like, listen, like, let's have at it.
Yeah.
Go ahead
Yeah.
and because you need a container to let that out in a safe space so that it doesn't boomerang and bite you,
Mm-hmm.
and we were able to do that for her, and so that's the really beautiful
I mean,
thing.
it didn't help that we laughed afterwards. I
Yeah,
mean,
we laughed.
Mm-hmm.
we sure did.
Y'all laugh at her.
Yeah, we was like, good for you.
Her. We were just so proud. Like, we were just,
Yeah.
yes.
And
Well,
I
because
think that was one of the benefits from the course, is because I think in my mind, I live in my head a lot. So in my mind, I felt like, okay, everything has to be perfect. Okay, this is wrong. This is wrong. I need to fix this. I need to fix this. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
trying to do everything I can. And at this point, I was just like, look, I'm one person. Okay, I cannot do everything. I can't be everything for everybody. If it's not going to work, then we need to find another option, or that girl can just go. Like, at that point, it just came out.
she
So
was
it felt,
flipping out. She was flipping out. And me and
It
Damaris
wasn't
was
that
like,
nice, by the way, guys.
no, it was not
nice.
nice at all. But me and Damaris was like, we here for it. We here for it. Let's go. Let it out.
but I appreciated it because it showed me that it's like it's okay to kind of have that balance. I didn't want to have to feel like that, but that's how I was feeling. It was a real emotion. So it was like, it just came out. It just came out.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of, projects and initiatives and all this other stuff out there that's geared towards teachers, families, primary partnerships. There's really nothing out there to really support the leadership, right? The mental health of the leadership. You as leaders are responsible for ensuring that your organization, your children, your families, everybody, mental health is great. But then what about yours, right? What is your support system? Where is your safe space, right? To come back to and be like, like Zakia, have this moment where you can be open, scream if that's what you need to, cry if that's what you need to, curse if that's what you need to, and not be criticized, right? Or not be looked at like you're less of a leader because you had a blowout moment, right? If that's what you needed. I tell Zakia all the time, what did you get finished? What, you didn't finish it? Okay, we'll take care of it tomorrow. But it's due today. Well, today is due tomorrow. There's only for so many hours a day, right? And then if not, we got the cleaner. I'm here for it. You know what I mean? I'm going to help you. I'm not going to let you, fail, right? I'm here to see you succeed, because that's my leadership. That's my job as a leader, to make sure that my leaders are able to be sustainable, are able to be professional, able to meet deadlines. So, I just feel like this is, for me personally, I'm so excited to be able to be a part of this, to have created this part of community for leaders, because it's not out there. This support system literally is not out there for anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. And right, I think we talk a lot about the fact that the fellowship is about practical skills. It's about, right, we kind of, we have our framework of what we're going to, talk about and make sure that we share the resources and everything. But we also took time to sit and talk about what people were experiencing at that time, and then pivot. Right, we did our pivot.
Yeah.
Like, okay, which direction do you guys need us to go? And sometimes, I think I've said it before, in this industry, sometimes people just don't know, so they follow what is required. It's like, well,
right.
I have to take these trainings. Star said I have to take these trainings, and you just take what you think is required of you. You're not necessarily getting what you need. And that was the purpose of this fellowship, was to give the leaders what they actually need, the practical stuff, right? We've been through it. We talk about the years that all of us collectively have been in it. But the truth of the matter is, we aren't the only leaders in the space either. Yes, we created this space. However, we learn from you guys, right? We're all in different spaces. Laverne, Sharon, from the family side, I'm not very familiar with that side, but I think it's important for us to also hear what's needed from you guys, right? You, like you said, you're in the house, or you're in your home. You don't have as many staff, and sometimes we do need to be understanding of what you guys in family group and different size centers experience, so that we still can help one another, because we don't want you feeling like you're in the silo. I'm in the centers, and I feel like I'm in a silo sometimes, like I'm the only one experiencing this, until I get in a space where it's like, oh, you too, and now I don't feel as crazy. So I love the space for what it allowed all of us to do, which was validate what actually happens every day, but also kind of do that. My brother used to watch wrestling, that tag team thing. Like, today, I don't have it today. I don't have it today, so I'm going to tag you in, and you got this. And that's
so important. What a good point that you made. Again, it goes back to community, right? It goes back to community, and it goes back to the community that you build and you create as well. Because I know for Laverne specifically, because I also come from family, it is hard. It is so hard. It is so hard because it's such a, it can be, and Laverne, you can tell me if it still is, because you have really, really made some really great strides and broken barriers. But for me, when I was in your space, it was a struggle. It was such a crab in a barrel. Nobody wanting to share, nobody wanting to do anything together. I definitely felt all alone all the time. I definitely didn't have community. And I felt like every time I reached out to somebody, they felt as though I was trying to take their kids or their clients or their, like, it was just this constant competitiveness. And so for me, community was really, really important because I didn't have it. So Laverne, can you speak to that, and also speak to what were some of the like content lessons that you got from the course as well?
Yeah. So like, it still can be like that in family childcare. You can be by yourself or feel like you by yourself. I created what I needed. Like Aaliyah was saying, we constantly focus on what they say we need. I don't. So they can easily come into my program and say, oh, you don't have this, because I spend a lot of time getting what I need versus what they're saying I should have. I can't give quality if I don't get what I need, because I'm so busy into what they think I should have. And I'm constantly expressing that to all of the organizations, that it's all about what I need, and you can provide whatever you want. I have to get what I need. So I created the group for family child care programs to be a part of, because I do live in a neighborhood where there are 3 other child care programs on my block, and we don't support each other as a community. No matter how often I've tried to do that. So I created that so I can go outside of my neighborhood and still have a community of childcare programs that we support each other, outings, events, different things. We just had a bowling party for the providers. So y'all want to compete on the block, we're going to compete on the lanes.
Yeah.
And so and just being in the cohort, I a couple of them I knew and some I didn't know, but just being able to interact with them as far as community goes. Can I come and visit your program and stuff? And I can come and visit y'all program and stuff. Like, I like stuff like that. I've never been invited to a person's program before to see what it's like in a center and stuff like that. So I felt comfortable there. I felt safe there. And I felt like it's a place that I'm going to be able to grow even after this cohort is over.
Yes.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
it.
And I
The
was
one
invited to her Facebook, guys. Just thought you should know that.
What'd you say?
I was invited to her Facebook group. I was so excited.
Y'all are doing some really great work. Matter of fact, I'm going to post it in the comments and share, especially for not just family and group, because it's for family and group, but like I'm in it and I love watching what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Like, y'all are fearless. Like,
Yes.
I'm like, they don't play. They literally post in there, like, does anyone have availability for children in particular areas of the city? Like, when I say providing resources and, not competitive at all, like, I totally love the space. So I'll share it in the comments for anyone who's watching who could benefit from it, because that's exactly what we need. Just like you said, finding what you need, like, go find your community. Go find your community. We do not have to sit back and talk about what we don't have, or, we can complain a little bit. We talk about our new policy in the center. We have 2 minutes to vent and then we're moving, right? That's it. You have 2 minutes. Cool. What are we going to do about it? And
that's what I love about Laverne, creating her own table, right? Her own seat at the table. You saw that gap and you created it. So kudos to you.
And it helps a lot. Like, we have I've had staff where I didn't need the person, so I sent them to another center. I didn't get them back, but I sent them to another center. But yeah, like, I like to be the example of, we can all help each other. We can all support each other and be there for each other. It doesn't have to be, cutthroat. So that's what keeps me going in this field.
It's funny how the cohort, the fellows all were very similar to the same passion, right? They were all passionate about sharing information. Even the littlest information, they were really excited to share that amongst the communities. I know you guys loved your breakout sessions. The feedback was like, more breakout sessions. I was like, okay, they just want to be on their own. But even through the breakout sessions, you guys were really able to connect a little bit. Can you share a little bit about, I know we never really asked you to share in detail, but can you share how those breakout rooms were able to really help you guys connect?
Yeah, so when we did the breakout rooms, for instance, when we talked about how we charge tuition and how we collect our funds and where we collect them at and stuff, that was really helpful, because we got a lot of resources from each other with that. Just understanding how to calculate if you are fully enrolled, if you're not, and ways you can get enrollment. So that was a really good source, because you might think all right, this only works here in my neighborhood, but somebody gave you an idea, and we gave each other ideas that I'm pretty sure that when we go to graduation, it's going to be an update. Yeah, I got a couple of enrollments because I did what you thought was a good suggestion.
Nice.
Man, that's really awesome. One last question for you, Laverne, then we're going to bounce over to Zakia. Oftentimes, I've heard family providers say they didn't feel comfortable in specific groups or circles because they didn't feel like they identified or that they could relate, because they had a smaller program and they didn't have the same issues. They had similar, but they didn't have the overhead and the staff and all that kind of stuff. So how was this for you? Because this was a diverse group of leaders. And one of the things that Damaris and Aaliyah and I were very, very intentional about, which is why it is the exceptional bilingual leadership fellowship, is that we wanted to remove all barriers. So it didn't matter whether you was family group or center or director, that you had a voice and that you felt comfortable and safe to share regardless.
You can be intimidated by somebody who is in the same field you're in, as far as being an entrepreneur and, looking at what they are capable of doing financially and stuff like that. You could be intimidated by that. For me, since I started my business, I started it. I love the children. I follow my purpose, but I started it for profit, right? So I set goals each year. I had goals and I exceeded those goals every year on purpose. And so I've always had staff. So I'm not limited as a family child care program to what you guys don't have. I have less overhead. I have less staff. I have less children enrolled, but I have the same things that you guys have because I run a business. I don't just have a daycare, And so I never put myself in a box to say, oh, I can't sit with people in centers. So when I say I believe we should all have equal pay, I get to educate you guys on why we should have equal pay versus saying, oh, well, you don't need equal pay because you don't have to pay this much. But I still need to understand that equal pay equates to the true cost of childcare. So, yeah, that's how it works for me.
And your percentages. Yes. True cost of childcare. Awesome.
All right, so Zakiya, same question for you. Again, you were in a diverse group of leaders with different experiences and education. So how did you feel in that space, and what were some of the content areas that you that we covered that really helped you to develop even more and grow?
It was, for me, I really did enjoy being amongst a bunch of different leaders with different experiences in leadership, especially being new to the role. I enjoyed listening to different perspectives and different ideas and different strategies and techniques on how we did just about everything that we have to do in the day-to-day. Is always super refreshing. At first, I was very intimidated. Like the first couple classes, I was very intimidated because I'm like, okay, these people are talking about all this stuff with all this experience and all this leadership, and here I am, all wet behind the ears, don't really know, don't really know. I know, but I don't know because I haven't been through the experience. But I'm just like, I was just a little anxious. But again, I started to feel comfortable, especially with those breakout rooms. I was one of the ones who suggested that they be a little bit longer. Just because the conversations were so vast and so grand that it could have kept going and going and going, which I think is something that, like, I think Ms. Aaliyah mentioned, that we don't really get to do. But a lot of the takeaways I did enjoy the policy structure portion that we talked about. I enjoyed the organization. The organization, I work with Ms. Obiama with organization skills all the time, and I use those to this day. And but what I really, really, even though it was at the end of the class, was the financial part. I hate math. Like, I don't like it. It's never been a thing of mine. I'm not sure how I passed, in high school and college. I don't know. However, the way that Ms. Damaris kind of broke it down, it made so much sense. And then we had questions. So after the class on Saturday, because it was so much, me and Samantha had questions, and we kind of cornered Damaris, like, hey, can we go over what we talked about on Saturday? So she got some chalk, wrote it out on the chalkboard, drew everything out, and it's so super clear now, to the point where today, that's all me and Samantha were working on, was trying to figure out where we were, where we stood, similar to what our budgets are, to try to figure out if we can get what we need, like staffing wise and stuff like that. So that portion of it, we were able to directly implement because we understood. So
The true cost of care, guys.
yes.
They were.
Um, I sat down today and I emailed all about 8 to 10 of my families about late payments and late fees and canceling care for next week if the balance wasn't current. And I got 6 emails back directly and money was paid.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Awesome. Look at that. You get an A. You get an A.
Yes,
So for
absolutely.
me, the financial part made the most sense as far as the business structure portion goes. Because I know working in childcare is like, okay, we know we have to take care of the kids, we have to provide curriculum, we have to follow policy, we have to stay in compliance. But the business component is the most important, because without that part, none of that other stuff works. So me and Samantha today literally put everything in motion and sat down as much as we could sit down. Today was a crazy day, but we got the financial part done. We got the financial part done. So that was like my biggest takeaway, because I hate math. I would rather not do it. But I the way she organized it, I understand it completely, and I'm like excited to do it now. So I don't think that's something that I'm scared of or intimidated by anymore. Not scared, intimidated rather. I'm not intimidated by it anymore.
I love that. That so warms my heart, right? This is after the final class. You guys are still talking about it. And just to let everyone know, we not only spoke about like numbers, but I think sometimes as leaders, and I could think back right up until now, I just started realizing how important it is for my leaders to not just my leaders, but all the staff to understand the number side, because we gave one example of, when the family drops and you're like, yes. Sometimes we have staff who, are happy that their class is a little low
Yeah,
today.
they celebrate too fast.
Celebrate, but it's like, hold on, guys, hold on. I need you guys to understand what that means numbers wise, because you guys remember what y'all asked for. Did you remember? Right, all of that impacts our numbers. So we spoke about a number of things, but some of them were also those everyday things that we encounter that we don't realize impacts our profit, our numbers, our income. So like Zakia was saying, sometimes if you don't follow up with them and say that they owe, they're like, well, if it's not important to them, they're not asking me. So we also spoke about the importance of collecting all of our fees. So I love that. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And the importance of being enrolled after a certain percentage. There's a danger zone to your budgets,
Yes.
right? So being really intentional about following your numbers, it's really, really, really important. So kudos to you guys. And they did literally corner me, guys. They were like, I walked in with my books and everything. They were like, we have questions. And I just looked at them and I was like, okay, give me an hour and we'll have a session. And that's what we did. We went straight into numbers. So I'm glad that you guys were able to resonate and put it to action, right?
Yeah.
We
Putting it
did.
into
We had
action.
a conversation today about it. We actually talked about it yesterday, because both of our kids had to go to the dentist, and we were at the dentist office together. So we were talking about it at the dentist office yesterday. Then we talked about it last night, and then when we came into the building today, that's what we focused on. We organized who owed, who we were sending stuff to, and when we were going to tell them they were canceling care. I was canceling care Monday. So no zero balance, no care.
That part.
It's a business.
It really is. It really is. So I want to kind of put a bow on this, because this conversation has been so great. But for those of you who are just tuning in and may not have been following and maybe trying to figure out what we're talking about. So Damaris, Aaliyah, and myself came together and just decided to create what we knew was missing in the field as it relates to leaders. We decided to be the solution and not be the problem and not complain about it, but actually be about it and create what we knew was needed. And so in so doing that, we created the Exceptional Bilingual Leadership Fellowship, which started out as a 12-week program. And we have our first cohort graduating this Saturday of 12. And we are so, so, so excited and proud. And so Laverne and Zakia are two of the students who were able to partake in that leadership program. And so even as we are talking to you, we're living out before you what it means to be a leader, and all of the, ebbs and flows of leadership. Is not just one way or one faceted, one modality. Leadership shows up in different faces and different stages, right? And so whoever you are and wherever you are in your program, I hope that hearing this conversation and seeing the work that we've been doing inspire you to take action and inspire you to elevate and increase your leadership as well, because it really is about not standing on a sideline and watching things happen, but really stepping into action and saying, I'm going to make it happen. I see that this is a problem, and not allowing naysayers and all of the things that we face to stop us, because we've definitely crossed and met some doors that were closed. We knocked on doors. We, asked different organizations to join, to fund, to be a part. And guess what? They said no. And guess what? We said okay. Right. And so that's the other part of it. As leaders, you're going to get some people that's not going to support you. And it's okay. Do not allow their no to determine your next step. Don't allow their no to determine how you decide to take action and how you decide to show up as a leader. And so our next cohort 2 starts on January 23rd, and you will be able to register. As you heard from the students, this program is for everybody. If you are a center director, if you are a family or group owner, if you are a proprietor, a CEO, executive director, it was very important to the three of us that we removed all barriers so that everyone is included. And so you've heard it right here. We invite you to join us in our next cohort, again, starting on January 23rd. And thank you, Zakia. Thank you, Laverne, for saying yes to you.
Yes.
For saying yes to you. We celebrate you.
I just want to say thank you to you guys again for sharing your gifts, and the wealth of experience that you guys possess is enormous, and to share it with to share it with others, to build them to be stronger, is something that's so admirable. So I really do appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for trusting us. Thank you for trusting us, because we spoke about fear a little bit at the beginning, and sometimes fear gets the best of us, and sometimes we don't allow ourselves to be open, and all of that stuff comes in. But the fact that you guys came, right, maybe nervous at first, but that's okay, because you didn't let the fear stop you. But we appreciate you guys' willingness and your follow through and your application, right? You guys applied it.
And you're trusting us, right? And you're trusting us. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not quick to get taught by anybody. I don't just get taught by anybody. Like, you got to really be like somebody that's going to be like, girl, get in here and sit down. And so when I be like, I can't, or I'll be like, yes, you can. So I do appreciate you guys, and I thank you for not needing a survey to decide what was needed. So thank you.
That part.
And the last thing I'll say is it's not over here, right? We don't just have this fellowship for those 12 weeks or for that period and then it's over, right? We are building a movement. That's just what that is. We are building a movement. We're creating a space, like we said, that we've always wanted to see. And it's just going to keep snowballing. It's going to keep snowballing. So next thing you know, you guys are going to be up here too. And it's like, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Have our ambassadors coming into Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed.
Yes, and that's the purpose, because we're not in this to say no. We are the leaders, and we teach everyone. We want to build up the leaders so that we are all making the change for ourselves as business owners, and elevating us. My hope too is to change this thought process about the childcare industry as if it's not a viable business, because we are business owners and leaders, right? And we can be in the same room as mayors and state
Mhm.
reps, other leaders across the board. We deserve to be there. So, we're creating advocates and leaders, well, building them up even further, because you guys already are leaders. And, again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
Well, see you
Hi.
Saturday. Can't
Yes.
wait to share all the pictures and videos. And thank you for coming and speaking your truths, your
Yes.
experience. I really appreciate you guys attending.
Thank you
Yeah.
for
Thank
having
you.
me.
We will not hold you guys any longer. For those of you who are watching either live or the replay, and you are interested in cohort 2, which again begins January 23rd, I put the link here, but I will on each of our social medias, and we'll share more about it. But get your registration there. You do not want to miss the boat, okay?
Space
Because
is limited. Space
but
is
it is.
limited. Space is limited. So
Yes.
And it's
So
worth the investment.
It
invest.
is
Thank you.
definitely worth it.
Mhm.
Yes, because we invest in ourselves, because no one else
Mhm.
will. They might, but we want to be first. We're going to be first. But thank you to our guests. Thank you to Maris and Obiama as usual. And thank you all for joining us. And we'll see you soon. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.